Hey everybody, it's Azrael Sword 1, and I'm in Florida after a hurricane. So, the temperature has dropped, windows are open, so you're going to hear a lot of noise in this video. I apologize preemptively. It has been a very long time since my last stay in the industry, but I want to show you guys what I got over the course of the last 8 months, I think. So, without further ado, because it is a lot, let's jump right in. I figured we should start with the manga since, well, honestly, there's no short place to start. I have a lot of everything. But first manga that I bought is almost all of Naoki Urasawa's Monster. So if ever you wanted to see an anime that is as close to horror as anime can get, that thriller, pit in your stomach, afraid of what might actually happen, Monster. This series is a freaking masterpiece. Now, I've never been able to find the anime, but I was able to track down the manga. So here is Monsters volumes 1 through 8. If you notice that all the pieces line up to create a kind of collage of different photos of important moments in the manga and in the anime. You'll notice that one of them is a different color, and that's because I accidentally bought the German version, which makes sense, actually, when you consider that the anime and manga is set in post-Soviet fall Germany. So that makes sense. But I am missing volume 9, and I gotta replace volume 5 with something that I can actually read. But if you've ever wanted a really, really good, somewhat obscure manga recommendation, I could not begin to recommend Monster enough. I'm not going to spoil anything. It's a crime thriller with the creepiest edge I've read in a very, very long time. So I very much recommend you take a minute, set aside a day or two, and binge read it. It's so good. Next, I got volumes 5, 6, 7, and 9. I am missing volume 8 of the Viz-Bigs for Dragon Ball Z. So if you've never read a Viz-Big, they are these really, really good quality versions of different animes or different mangas. And yes, you do get color pages, which is really nice. So I have all of Rurouni Kenshin. I'm trying to get all of Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, and Inuyasha. And eventually I want to get the Vagabond series as well in the Viz-Bigs whenever I get around to that. I just need volume 8 to be done with Dragon Ball Z, and then I can focus on Dragon Ball, which I think I'm missing 4 volumes? 4 of the Viz-Bigs? And then I can turn all of my attention to Vagabond. Next, I got all of Chibi Vampire, which, let me tell you, was a chore, because apparently Tokyopop, as a company, died years ago. So finding their mangas, all of their very out-of-print mangas, tracking them down for a decent price. Basically, almost all of them are used copies, because finding them new was damn near impossible. I did manage to get a few of them new, like this one, but most of them are used copies. There was an anime adaptation for this. I wouldn't really recommend it too much. It's early 2000s cornball cheese. That's all it is. The anime adaptation is a very loose adaptation of the early chapters, and then like the last few volumes just thrown in at the end. A lot of the build up for the romance, a lot of like the character growth and progression isn't really there. But if you ever get the chance to read Chibi Vampire, it's a fun, romantic, supernatural slice of life. The whole driving issue is that the main character, Karin, is a unvampire. She's a vampire that produces blood instead of having a deficiency of it. Therefore, she doesn't suck blood, she has to inject blood into others. She can't just feed the way that other people do. And another fun gimmick to play with the vampire theme is that everyone has a particular type of blood that they enjoy. Not blood type like A, B, negative, O. No, I mean like the blood of drunkards, the blood of liars, the blood of cheaters, things like that draw their attention. So she, I think, is drawn to people who are miserable or who are depressed. that's who she desires to feed on the most. So I highly recommend, or unfeed, I guess. I highly recommend you check it out. It's a good series. So moving on. Anybody who's stuck around during the life of the indie industry on this channel knows that I didn't ever buy the Naruto manga in order. I basically bought them as I saw them at Barnes & Nobles or at Walmart, or whatever volume looked the coolest or had an interesting fight. So there are a lot of gaps in my Naruto collection that I need to fill in. So in that spirit, volumes 45, 56, 57, and 58 of Naruto's manga. I am still missing 4 volumes, I think. Oh, but some of those are not out of print, but just difficult to find for a decent price. So I need to get the last couple of volumes I'm missing, which I think are 68 or 69, and volume 71, and volume... There's another one I can't remember. I'd have to look at them on my shelf, but I am missing, I think, 4 or 5 volumes. That's eventually, I was going to have to purchase that to get that out of the way. And then I will have all of Naruto, and then I can focus on getting all of Bleach, and then I'm going to have to build an entire extra wing to my house just as a manga library. Next, during my last semester at UCF, by the way, graduated, finally, got my master's, and I'm working as a teacher now, so that's fun. It's exhausted me, so I haven't actually had very much time for things like video editing, but thankfully Mother Nature sent me a hurricane to give me 3 days off so that I can actually sit down and do this. These are volumes that were on sale at the Barnes & Noble at UCF during, I think it was a combination of Women's Month and Manga Week. So all the manga that are written by women were like 60% off or something together. So I ended up getting a whole bunch of manga. This is not all of it, I'll show you more in a second. But Platinum End was not one of those. Platinum End is written by Sugumi Oba and Takashi Obata, the same people that did Death Note. And it definitely shows when you read the manga. It's the art is scarily similar in terms of detail. The art is gorgeous. The story is, if you haven't, I picked up the first few volumes earlier, so if you've seen my previous Sustained Industries, then you know. But it is very similar to what would happen if Death Note meets Mirai Nikki. You know, there's a battle royale to decide who becomes the next god, and yeah, with Death Note level battles of wits. Vampire Dormitory, Yakuza Lover, and Rosenblood, I have not read yet. I don't know very much about them, actually anything. And these are not the volumes you want to begin on. This is volume 2, this one's volume 4, and this is volume 2, I think. But they were on sale, and they were there, and they looked good, so I picked them up. Komi Can't Communicate. If you have not seen the series on Netflix, I very much recommend it. It is so adorable. It's about a girl, a beautiful girl, who's the school idol, and yet she has crippling social anxiety, and she cannot speak in public settings. She's constantly racked with fear that she's going to misspeak, that she's going to make a fool of herself, that people are going to think ill of her, so she just shuts down, and the only way she can communicate is through writing, or through her first friend, Tadano, who apparently has some preternatural ability to simply understand Komi based on her facial expressions and gestures, and so he acts as sort of her go-between for the rest of the class. Seven Deadly Sins, volumes 1 and 2, and Bloom Into You, which I think is my first GL series that I've picked up any volumes of. But I liked it. I liked the first volume so much that you'll see whenever I get to the Blu-rays. Next, Tales of Wedding Rings, which is a very, very, very ecchi battle manga. Rent a Girlfriend, which is Wish Fulfillment, the manga. speaking of Sugumi Oba and Takashi Obata, this is the latest release, the Death Note short stories collection, which includes the original pilot manga. It includes the L backstory. It includes the series or the manga about the where is it? This kid that decides to sell the Death Note, which hilariously includes Donald Trump and what's his face, the guy from China. Who remembers? Xi Jinping, I think his name is. Let me see if I can find him. Here he is. There's Donald Trump. And here's Xi Jinping. There's Xi Jinping. I just thought that was funny. Now, anyone who's watched my channel for any length of time knows that I absolutely love the manga for Rosario Vampire. The anime is hot garbage, but the manga is exquisite. Now, yes, this volume does read left to right rather than right to left, but it's for a reason. You'll find out eventually. But the art in this series, the freaking story in this series, it's so freaking good. So I very much recommend you pick up Ghost Reaper Girl, the newest series in Akihisa Ikeda's, I guess her late, is it a he or a she? I think it was a she. Not sure. It might be a she. I don't know. Their work, Rosario Vampire, and now Ghost Reaper Girl. Next is the fourth volume for Mao, which is, I think, Rumiko Takahashi's latest manga, I think. Noragami, which I don't think requires any introduction. Same thing with Black Butler, volumes 1. I think it's 14 and 30. No, 24. Sorry, 24 and 30. Great series. Also, highly recommend you pick those up if you have not read them. And the last of the books, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Smoke and Shadow, and North and South, the library editions. This wraps up, I think, all of the available library editions, because Imbalance has not, I think, come out with a library edition yet. Or if it has, I haven't picked it up yet. That is all the manga and anime related books things that I have purchased in the last 8 months. Now we move on to the DVDs. Starting off, I got the first 4 series of Digimon on DVD. That is the original series and the follow-up. So that's Digimon, Digimon 02. I think that's was it Frontier and what was the last one? Tamers and Frontier. Frontier? I think this is Frontier. Yeah. So yes, that's all 4 of the original series in one big box set. I finally got the rest of Sailor Moon, so Sailor Moon S, Super S, and Sailor Moon Sailor Stars. So that's seasons 3, 4, and 5. So that wraps up all of Sailor Moon. I just need to get the rest of the movies. And Slayers, volumes 1 through 3, or the first 3 seasons, I should say, which is in a very nice packaged box set. And that wraps up the first 3 seasons of the series. And Sorcerer Hunters, another very old series. I think it's from the early 90s. This fills, along with one other Blu-ray that I bought, the medieval fantasy style series that I have been looking to recapture, because growing up I think I watched some of Slayers, sorry, and another series which I will mention when I get to it. I didn't watch Sorcerer Hunters, but it was I saw it recommended and I was like, okay, I'll pick that one up too, and it turns out it's really fun. It's got all that fun 90s cheese that you come to expect, that really nice older animation style, which I find very endearing. So if you're itching for a sort of high fantasy, magic and warriors and I think D&D style stuff, here you go. Next, I got Rinne, the complete series. Rinne is another one of Rumiko Takahashi's works, although I think it's one of her less well-known. Rumiko Takahashi is the woman that did Inuyasha, Ranma 1/2, Urusei Yatsura, Mao, Rinne, and the other one is Maison Ikkoku. So if any of those ring a bell, yeah, that's her. One of the most prolific female manga authors in history, and this is the complete works of Rinne. I managed to get all of these each for about $1 to $2 a piece, because Sentai was having a huge 90-something% off sale on almost all of its stuff, so I ended up buying a crap ton, and you'll see that whenever you get to the end and you see exactly how much I purchased these last few months. The Good Witch, also from Sentai, I bought it because it was literally less than $1. I don't know anything about it, but it was there and it was cheap, and I was like, okay, fuck it, you're with it. Girls on Panzer, comedy series about girls riding around in panzers during, I think it was during what war? I don't know. But basically, I think they're Russian or German. No, they're meant to be German. I don't know. I've heard of it. I haven't actually sat down and watched it yet, but I've heard plenty of Girls on Panzer. Fate Ilia, the Ilia series. I don't know where Fate Prisma Ilia Kaleid Liner fits in the greater Nasuverse, or even in the Fate franchise. I don't know if this is the first, the starting point of the Prisma Ilia series, if this is one of the movies, if this is... I don't know, but I got everything Fate that I could get my hands on from Sentai. I have never actually sat down to watch any of the Prisma Ilia stuff, but it was Fate, so I was like, okay, I know that there was an event in Fate Grand Order that had to do with this, so I'm sure it fits somewhere in the greater Nasuverse, that complicated mess of a web that is the Fate franchise. And then Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Oki. So this is, I believe, the original series of Tenchi Muyo, the one that I watched when it was on Toonami many, many moons ago. Tenchi Muyo was very not appropriate for children at the time, but compared to some of the ecchi series that come out nowadays, it's hardly worth mentioning. And lastly, for the DVDs, I got My Goddess, the movie, which I believe is the version from the 90s. Not the OVA series. I know that there's an OVA series that I don't think ever got brought over to the States, but I don't know, I might be wrong. I got Dragon Ball Z Kai Part 2 of the Buu Saga, which is the one part of the Kai series I was missing. So I had Part 1 and Part 3 for the Buu Saga, and now I have them all. And then, I know you're not supposed to, but I needed to complete my Fate collection. So this is Fate Stay Night, the Dean version from the 2009 or 2010, something like that. The older series. I watched it. It's not the best, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as people made it out to be. And a lot of the most iconic Fate music, when I think of Fate, comes from this series. So, I'll admit the CG dragon towards the end was bad. Very, very, very bad. But other than that, and the stuff, some of the stuff at the end, I would say it's still worth a watch. I think it's still worth watching, even with Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, Heaven's Feel, all of those series out. This started it all, and it's a good place to start if you're getting into Fate for the first time. And then, sadly, My Bride is a Mermaid. It's a cheesy romance series from the mid-2000s, but the reason I said unfortunately is because it's a library edition, and you know how I feel about library editions of anime. It just looks ugly, having all of that, labels and stuff all over it. It just hurts me. Well, that covers the DVDs. So I'm going to just pan to where you can't see the... Yeah, that huge tower over there is the DVDs, along with this. Now, we have to move on to the Blu-rays. First up on the Blu-rays is Sailor Moon Crystal in absolutely gorgeous box sets. Parts 1, 2, and 3. Absolutely love this set. It reminds me of the Ranma 1/2 box set. Really nice hard cardboard box. Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, the complete series, on similar hard cover. Gorgeous packaging. Gotta love it. I did have it previously in the UK release, I think, but the one of my birds got out and ate through the binding, ate through the plastic and the paper, so I had to replace it. So I consider it an upgrade. It looks great. This is what I meant by the rest of the Fate stuff that was being sold by Sentai. So this is Fate, Kaleid Liner, Prisma Ilia, Prisma Phantasm, and Vow in the Snow. I don't know what order to watch this in. If you guys could tell me in the comment section, I'd appreciate it. I don't know where that fits in comparison to the DVD of the Prisma Ilia series that I got, but those are the first few Blu-rays I got. Next, I got Part 2 of Demon Slayer Season 1, along with the Mugen Train movie. The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, which is the movie that wraps up the original series for The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, and all of Inuyasha bought on Blu-ray. Yes, I have it on DVD. Yes, I have most parts of the manga in the VizBigs. But then I saw that it was being re-released on Blu-ray, and I just went, you know what? Screw it. I'll just buy them all. Inuyasha was one of my favorite series. It was one of the first more mature anime that I watched growing up. Back when it was on Toonami and on Adult Swim. So being able to relive this in as good a quality as is available is a treat. Oh boy, here we go. So I got Samurai Champloo on Blu-ray along with Claymore, which is one of the more underrated seinen manga and anime that I've ever come across, and I highly recommend it. The last thing Dragon Ball Z I needed, The History of Trunks and Bardock, the Father of Goku, in Blu-ray. Ergo Proxy, if you were around in the 2000s, you know. Full Metal Panic, I believe this is the complete first series. The last of the Heaven's Feel movies. Spring Song. This is unambiguously the sad, bad, everything breaks route from the Fate Stay Night franchise. Fate Apocrypha, both parts 1 and part 2. No, this is not made by the same studio, so the animation is not as good, nor is the story, but it's still Fate, and it introduces a lot of characters that people really, really like, including characters like Astolfo and Jeanne d'Arc, and basically, it's a good series, just not on the same level, I would say, as Fate Stay Night, or Fate Zero, or Unlimited Blade Works, or Heaven's Feel. Rent-A-Girlfriend, remember how I said that I got the manga for it? Well, here's the anime. The first season, anyway. Ascendance of a Bookworm, Seasons 1 and 2. This is one of the most wholesome, nerd, swan song to a nerd that you're ever going to get. It's about a little girl who's a bookworm in the real world and gets isekai'd into a medieval world where there are no books. And she is so obsessed with reading that she has to basically make her own books if she is ever going to be able to read in this world again. But because she's like a grown woman in the modern world, she has knowledge of the modern world, so she's constantly inventing things that shouldn't exist in her time period. So that's great. Shirobako is an anime about making anime, in the same way that Bakuno is a manga about making manga. It's about the process of voice acting and editing and the crunch time for animators and all of these guys that are working, just busting their balls to provide you with the anime fix that you need. Pet Shop of Horrors is, I think it's an OVA. It's only an OVA series, I think. So yeah, it's 4 episodes. It is a horror anime from the 90s, and you can tell it is so freaking good. I highly recommend you check that out. La Corda de Oro is, I'll be honest, I know it's about music. I know very little else. This is one of those series that were being sold by Sentai, and it was like $2, so I bought it. Bloom Into You. So remember how I said that I really liked the manga, or the first volume of the manga, so I decided to buy the anime? Well, here's the anime. Here's the, I think it's the complete collection. 12 episodes. It's, I think, my first girl love manga, and it's my third Blu-ray, or third anime, I guess. Kabaneri of the Iron Fortress. So this is made by the same studio that made Attack on Titan, and it shows. The animation, the art, all of it is absolutely jaw-droppingly amazing. The story is not as good, I would say, as Attack on Titans, but it's anything I really say is going to be a bit of a spoiler, so just watch the anime. And lastly, to wrap up this insanely long Sustained the Industry, Your Lie in April Parts 1 and 2, a series that will undoubtedly make you cry, like ugly cry by the end of it. My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom. So this is a hilarious isekai series about a girl who is absolutely obsessed with a particular dating sim, and when she dies gets teleported into that dating sim, only she doesn't get reincarnated as the heroine, she gets reincarnated as the villainess. And in all the versions of the end that she's played, and she's played it extensively, she knows that her character either gets killed by the end or gets exiled into the desert, which is the same thing as death. So she tries by every means to avoid any of the triggers that lead to her inevitable doom, which means she accidentally sets off the romance triggers for every character in the game, all the romanceable men, as well as all of the potential female heroines. She manages to set off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5? 6, 7. She manages to set off 7 different love cues or triggers across 4 guys and 3 girls. That is impressive. Kino's Journey. This is the original series, Kino's Journey, which is a gorgeous anime, which, surprisingly enough, actually got a reboot. Kino's Journey. It's the same series, follows the same beats, just updated animation and slightly more faithful to, I think it's not visual novels, the light novels. Ouran High School Host Club on Blu-ray. I already had it on DVD, but of course, when I saw that it came out on Blu-ray, I had to upgrade because y'all already know I love my Ouran. And do you remember when I was talking about the anime series that hit that D&D style fantasy medieval aesthetic and feel that I was missing? Well, here's probably the best of the bunch. This is Record of Lodoss War. This feels like D&D because it is actually a D&D campaign that blew up in Japan and got turned into an amazing OVA series and an okay anime, the OVA is really where it's at. It is, I think, 6 episodes of OVA, I think. I don't remember how many episodes the OVA is, or maybe it's 8. The OVAs are so... Forgive me, I had to sneeze. The OVAs are so jaw-droppingly gorgeous. I mean, unbelievably beautiful. That it would be a crime if you did not watch it. So please, whenever you get a minute, sit down, watch at least Record of Lodoss War, the OVA series. It's not very long, but it is well worth your time. It is one of the most aesthetically beautiful 90s anime anything I have seen, and that includes Cowboy Bebop. Yes, I am saying it. It is on the same level, if not better, in terms of visuals as Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, that good. And that concludes what is easily, and without a doubt, the longest Sustain the Industry I have ever done. Well over $1,000 worth of anime and manga across just about every genre imaginable. So please let me know your recommendations, your thoughts on the purchases, which ones you're interested in, which ones you've seen, which ones you've read, and if there are any that I should get, any ones that you would say are worth checking out if I have not already seen them, please let me know in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this behemoth of a purchase. So I will see you guys later. Have a great day.